Hello everyone, today we have a very special guest. He's an APICS certified supply chain professional and working as a senior manager of business development in Tata Steel. In this video, we have talked about how you can grow your career in supply chain, and also we have talked about some global renowned certified courses which will help you to grow in your supply chain career. Lately, we have also discussed how Indian logistics looks like right now and how any organization can reduce their logistic cost, what kind of new technology they can implement, and what is the future of logistics in India. So let's unlock the logistics. So welcome Dheeraj sir.
Hi, thank you, Pratik. Thanks to your Traqo team for inviting me to speak on the logistics and transportation related insights and challenges which we are as an industry people we are facing right now.
Right. So, sir, before starting, there are so many people who don't know that you can have a professional course on the supply chain, right? Can you explain little that as you are already, professional supply chain manager, right? And you have done the course from instead of foreign trade, right? What it is, how you can do it, what is the exact study you do in this course?
Right. Thanks, Pratik, for asking this question. I think it will help a lot of a majority of the people who are not aware about the comprehensive courses related to the supply chain management and more specifically about the logistics and transportation and distribution related things. So basically, after graduating from IIT Kharagpur, um, uh, I directly jumped into the industry, and later on, after working for quite, I think, 4 to 5 years of working in the industry, I tend to realize the issues and challenges of the industry, and which generated an immense interest uh, to know more about the theoretical aspect of tackling all these issues and challenges. So one thing is definitely that people can do an MBA in the field of operations and supply chain management. But apart from MBA also, there are certain courses, there are certain certifications which are globally renowned and are very comprehensive in nature. So for example, nowadays all of the premium institutes like IITs and even IIMs are organizing a 6 month or 1 year of courses related to comprehensive subject as well as related to the specific subjects also. So that is generally they organize an online classes, weekend online classes, and after the completion of the courses they conduct an examination, and they provide you the certificate of completion. So all these courses are more inclined towards enhancing your own knowledge and confidence of the subject. So that is one. Second, which I want to talk about, the globally renowned, and a lot of credibility also comes in with these certifications, which are APICS certification. So APICS generally, it's a body, it's a you can call it Association for Supply Chain Management, US. It's a US based organization and a global organization for the supply chain community, which develops the industry benchmarks and best practices all over the globe, and all comprising all the industries. And based on those best practices and industry standards, they have majorly into 3 or 4 global certifications, from which one is CSCP, which is Certified Supply Chain Professional, which is currently I have cleared, and now I am a Certified Supply Chain Professional. So it's a comprehensive certification which includes end-to-end supply chain management. So there are very systematic modules related to the end-to-end supply chain management. It takes around a year-long preparation uh, to appear in the examination, and the examination is also a very tough one. So it's a online examination, and it's a very tough examination. A lot of questions they ask, and it's basically dependent on your practical skills, practical knowledge, and the all the course materials which you have gone through. So that is one. Apart from that, they also have CLTD, which is Certified Logistics, Transportation and Distribution. They have CPIM, which is Certified Planning and Inventory Management. Also, for the process related thing, they have SCORE P. One, there is a SCORE P model which is specially designed by the APICS only, and which talks about the basic structure of a supply chain. and it's a detailed thing also. So this is APICS certifications are one thing which I experienced. I did it, and it has helped me in exponentially increasing the fundamental knowledge of the subject, the end-to-end supply chain management, which I am currently applying to my day-to-day routine, and definitely the quality of the job has gone manifold after that.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I would like to go deep in this, right? So I would like to know that we all know, right? You are looking at this entire logistic industry from last, almost 1 decade, right? So how different Indian logistic structure is from these kind of courses and this kind of studies, right? Because they have their, as you mentioned, it's a American body, right? So they have their own way of doing supply chain. They are very automated, or they are very structured in compared to Indian, right? So how difficult it is to cope up with these kind of studies while working in Indian industry?
Right. So it's a very relevant question, Pratik. So first of all, what I mentioned is that these particular certifications, what APICS is offering, they are based on the global study. So they are
Right.
not only related to the US based organizations.
Okay.
They
Perfect.
first, study all the industries all over the globe and the
Mm-hmm.
challenges related to each and every industry all over the globe.
Okay.
So, for example, after COVID, uh,
Mm-hmm.
previously they were having one CSCP 4.0. So, after
Mm-hmm.
COVID, after the pandemic, we have seen that the supply chains have got disrupted. And
Right.
all of us as an industry people have realized the need to first change the orthodox principles, to modify the
Mm-hmm.
orthodox principles, and uh, implement new, which is help, which will help us to cope up all these type of disruptions if taken place. So that
Right.
is one. Secondly, if we talk about the Indian logistics sector, so just if we see that in the recent national logistics policy, which are recently
Really.
launched in
Yeah.
2022, more of the emphasis is on first is the digitization.
Right.
Okay. Second is reducing the logistics cost. Reducing the logistics cost is the main focus, and the levers are the digitization. It is one. Multimodal transport is second. है ना? So all these things are also present in these type of courses. For example, there is a separate module related to the technology and the
Perfect.
digitization in these
Right.
certifications. So I think these certifications are very comprehensive, and it is based on industry standards and the best practices. So
Right.
if you are studying the best practices across the globe, then it will help your organization. If you apply those best practices to your organization, it will definitely help you to grow fast and solve the
Right.
challenges fast.
Right. So one thing which excited me a lot about you, that you done your, BTech from IIT Kharagpur, right? You are from engineering background, and then you're working in a supply chain. Like how you decided that you will work in a supply chain, and what was the reason behind that?
Yeah. So, answering this question, it's first that when I joined the organization, I was more responsible for the technical thing related to my BTech studies. But
Right.
after an year of working, I got an opportunity to handle the supply chain operations, or the supply chain of one of the division.
Right.
So I think it is one that the vast scope of opportunities which my organization is currently providing. So that was kick. That was a kick which I got, and I started to work in the supply chain field. And when I worked in this field for around 4 to 5 years, then this field really excited me a lot. And I also found that this is the field which has a vast amount of scope. Working in supply chain management, improving your supply chain will definitely have a vast amount of impact on the bottom line of your organization.
Mm.
You can get the savings by working on your supply chain, which you have never thought of before, uh,
Right.
before knowing about the subject.
Right.
So global benchmark, if I talk about, there is a figure that almost 17 to 20% savings an organization can easily achieve by working on its supply chain. It's a global figure, so it's a
Perfect.
vast
Right. It's a
amount, big
huge
amount
number.
of savings, right? And it
Yeah.
can even go up. So some of the industries have
Mm-hmm.
achieved 30 to 40% also, which were obviously in their very nascent stage of their supply chain. So their supply chains, they got matured, and their efficiency, their processes got re-engineered, and they achieved those profits.
So Dheeraj, so while you were working in Tata Steel, right, which have one of the best supply chain management in India, right? What kind of steps you have taken to reduce this kind of cost, right? As you mentioned that anyone can reduce cost just by working in supply chain, and they can save lots of money for the organization, right? So what was the steps you have taken for reducing the cost in supply chain? If you can little bit explain, so people can also take those steps, and they can also automate their logistics, and they can reduce cost for their organization.
So, as an organization, I think most of the organizations after pandemic have really felt the need to make your supply chain more resilient. So, by resiliency, we mean that how fast or how quickly we can come back again from any disruption. So, I think in that particular direction, one of the most important thing is your supply chain visibility.
Right.
So, we have tend to bring in, with the help of technology, we have tend to bring in the visibility to our supply chain, which has helped us, or which is helping us to act fast. One.
True.
Second thing is that definitely studying your processes, doing the value stream mapping in your processes, and eliminating the non-value added things from your process, has helped us in making our supply chain more efficient as well as cost effective.
So while doing all this thing in supply chain, what you felt that what was wrong, miserably wrong in Indian logistic, which was not happening outside, or maybe people were not doing outside of India, and you felt like this should be, this need to be changed in upcoming days. What was that one pain point which you had earlier days?
So, one thing definitely, if we talk about our logistics sector in India, so
Mm.
currently our logistics cost is, if we talk about, is 16% of our GDP,
True.
which is very high as we talk about the global practice of 8% of GDP. So
Right.
there is a long way for us to go in reducing our logistics cost by almost 50%. You know
Mhm.
so I think that particular national logistics policy which has come has tried to focus on reducing our logistics cost by levers like multimodal transportation. So
Mhm.
currently we are not using our river ports. We are not doing much of inland waterway transportation. While
Right.
if we talk about China, so China is far way ahead in using the river ports and doing the inland transportation, and even the Europe. So I
Right.
think that particular one thing which is very important. Secondly, if we see our road transportation in logistics, so in India currently our transportation network is very fragmented. A
Mhm.
large chunk of the transporters or the fleet owners have very small amount of fleet.
Mhm.
So there is a vast opportunity for us to aggregate these uh, fleet owners through digitization.
True.
Okay. And third one, definitely, if we talk about the rail transportation.
Mhm.
So currently, if we see the average speed of a freight train is only 25 kilometers per hour currently. The average
Surprising.
speed of
It's
a freight train is around almost 25 kilometers per hour. So it has to go to at least 50 kilometers per hour, at least as compared
right.
to the benchmark. So that is if all the three modes of transportation, if we look, so these are the things which are currently we are behind from the global industry and have a lot of work. Although government and government policies which have recently been announced have tend to focus on all these areas. And secondly, practically, if we talk about the other aspect of the supply chain, so logistics is one aspect of the supply chain management, and other aspects is our practices, our fundamentals in industries.
Mhm.
We try to read all the theoretical things, but when it comes to apply it, we are generally not the people who apply very accurately.
True.
So I think that particular thing needs to change, and we need to be more serious and focused in applying the true fundamentals of the subject practically to the industry. So that is I have
Right.
been working in the industry for so long.
Right, and it is very insightful, sir, that you mentioned about the speed of train. That all rack movements which are happening at rail. So just to give idea about what is multimodal logistics and how you guys are also using. I know that Tata is also using multimodal logistics from very long, right? And there are few of companies in India who are using this kind of multimodal logistics, right? So if you can little bit explain it what it is and how it works for our viewers, that will be great.
Right, right. So multimodal transportation is basically the use of various modes of transportation for a single journey, you can say, using all the available modes of transportation, which are, definitely efficient and cost effective, and also environment friendly. So, like nowadays, we have started coastal movements of goods from one place to another, from west to east or east to west. That is one, and we have in some of our supply chains, we have developed the models of using road, rail, as well as sea mode, all into one, using all those modes of transportation in a single journey. So we have evaluated various modes. We have done a comprehensive study, and accordingly, we had came up with some models, and we are currently executing that. So, for example,
Great.
transporting one particular material, one particular quantity or cargo by singularly by road transportation from if we talk west to east, maybe very much expensive also, and in terms of carbon emissions, it can generate more carbon emissions, wherein if we use sea mode from by using our along coastline, uh, the definitely the cost will come down, and also the carbon emissions are also very less as compared to the road transportation. So
True.
these particular improvements we are doing. We are continuously monitoring our processes. We are continuously evaluating the opportunities to improve our processes, and accordingly we are implementing those.
Perfect, perfect, sir. So I would also like to know, you have mentioned the digitalization in logistic industry for reducing the cost, right? If you can mention a little bit more about the exact digitalization you have done for reducing the cost, that will be great. Like what exactly you have done it for reducing the cost? Is it some kind of solution? Is it some kind of, TMS, and what it was and how you implement it? Because in India, the implementation is very tough, right? People are not ready to use this kind of digitalization. Transporter are not ready to, do this kind of, app update or something like that. So what exact thing you have done?
So talking about this, I would like to talk about the things which I was personally involved in. So
Right.
basically, we had developed one supply chain control tower for
Mm,
our all the operations, wherein we focus to increase our supply chain visibility. As I already mentioned, that supply chain visibility, if you have visibility of all the operations going on, then first you can act fast, and when you can act fast, then definitely all the factors of safety which you tend to build in will come down, and those factors of safety when will come down, your inventory levels in the supply chain will definitely come down because you have the opportunity to act fast. So overall, your total supply chain cost, your inventory carrying cost will definitely come down, and it will have a direct impact on your bottom line.
mm,
So that is one. And secondly, we have launched some apps to purchase the material, purchase the raw material, which have helped us in increasing our reach to market, time to reach the suppliers. uh, it has helped us in that, which definitely have a direct impact on our purchasing cost, as when you have a large reach to the market, then you are not dependent on a small chunk of suppliers, and you have a bigger pool to leverage. So which
true.
also have increases your grudge, which definitely decreases your grudge to increase your prices.
Right.
So these are couple of things. Definitely, there are more which we have done in the organization, which we are constantly doing. But these are two things, which are one of the good things and major things which we have done.
Perfect. And you rightly mentioned about the control tower, right? In Logistic, we have to take actions very fast, right? If any vehicle is stuck somewhere, if you're not aware of that, that is a huge problem, right? So I would also like to know how you see this industry after 5 years. Like, what are the major changes you feel like will be happened after 5 years?
So I think if we specifically talk about the logistics and transportation industry, I think technology has a vast role to play in that.
Hmm.
uh, Immense vast role to play in that, because uh, it will definitely make your processes more efficient. For example, tracking. It's a simple thing when we track a vehicle. So tracking your vehicle will definitely, tend to provide you the exact visibility.
Mhm.
And that particular visibility is not only about the where is your vehicle right now, in how much time it will reach. It has direct impact on your inventory levels. You
Perfect.
know,
True.
when you have visibility that this much particular amount of material is going to come in at this particular point of time, then your reorder point, definitely will shift, and you will, you have that ability in that case to order less and much more frequently. So it has a direct impact on your, supply chain, your inventory levels, and the efficiency which you need to build into your supply chain.
True. So this is very good point which you're bringing, talking about the inventories which you are managing, right? So there are so many companies who think that your material should be in warehouse or you have to keep the inventory. But for me, I believe if you have produced something, you have manufactured something, it's your primary job to logistic it in a market so anyone can consume it, right? You don't have to keep the inventory. And here the logistic automation plays a huge role, right? So for you, if I ask you, right, that what was the problem areas, right, you face nowadays while hiring a vehicle or maybe doing a logistics or maybe delivering goods to your some customer or maybe getting that goods to your plant, right? What are the major challenges which you face nowadays?
First of all is the availability of vehicles. That is,
Okay.
I think, one of the big issues which we generally face.
Mhm,
Timely placement of vehicles,
mhm,
suitable fleet which exactly matches our commodity which needs to be transported.
mhm,
And third one, and the most important, I think it should come on the first, that the safety of vehicles. What condition is the current vehicle which you have got? What is the exact condition? So we have processes to monitor all those things, but it's currently a challenge, because if your vehicle is not safe, the first of all, the lives of the people are in danger, and secondly, commercially also, your material is also in danger, and it has a direct impact on a lot more, things if we go deep. So that is two three things which we generally face, and third one is definitely the visibility thing. But I think that particular thing, we have catered, we have implemented a lot of good solutions into our supply chain.
mhm.
But specifically, if we talk about that one is the availability of vehicles, is one of the major things which we currently face.
So Dheeraj sir, why we are not able to solve their problems? Like as we all know, these problems are very, very long. Like there are problems which we are facing from more than decades or 2 decades, right? So why we are not able to solve this all problems so far?
So
What's
yeah,
your thought
Pratik,
on
it's a
that?
very good question, and I would definitely like to answer that, because as an industry, we have already talked that the logistics cost is in India is currently very high.
True.
And when we, go to the service providers, the logistic service providers, and we ask for quotes, then the current prices or the current freight rates are matching all the conditions of the industry. The prices are very high,
Mhm.
but we negotiate like anything, and the service providers, in, in excitement of getting the contract, they generally agree to work on the lower prices, right?
Okay.
So when they are not getting the actual prices, the service levels will definitely go down. I think this is
True.
one of the major reason which the logistics industry is currently facing.
Mhm.
So industry try to bring down the prices, and those are not feasible for the logistic service providers to match in and to provide all the service levels according to that. So when we, when our infrastructure in logistics will get improved, which is currently being focused in the policies announced by the government, I think these costs will definitely come down, and the service levels will go up.
Right. So, as you mentioned, like, LSPs plays a major role in all these things, right? Providing good services, giving you best vehicles, all these things, right? So, how they can improve their services, right? What's your thought, right? As you are directly talking to these kind of LSPs, there's so many LSPs who literally come to you and say that I wanted to work with you, but their rate is a little bit high or something like that, right? So, how they can make sure that they are providing best services with a lower cost, and what kind of changes they can do in their working day-to-day life?
Yeah, so I think first of all, they need to study their cost very accurately
Mhm.
before quoting. The people in who are, making the proposals, they need to get they need to first study the scope of the work very accurately, and they need to build in all the possible costs which will be incurred in the process, and after that only they should quote, because many of the logistic service providers are not doing this particular thing accurately, and in the excitement only they are quoting, in the excitement of getting a good order, a big order, only they are quoting, and after getting the order, they only are the people who are the first one to complain that, sir, we are not it is not feasible for us to work in these prices. So I
Right.
think at the first hand only, if all the service providers focus on this particular thing, that we need to study and we need to make a proposal very accurately, that only then only industries will receive the right quotes, and based on those quotes only we generally select a service provider.
As you are from IT Kharagpur, right, which is a very renowned college in India, right? And I know how we all see that college, right? So anyone who is trying to come into supply chain, like youngster, right, people who are just graduating, right, what will be your suggestion for those people who wanted to make career in supply chain and wanted to join this entire logistic industry in India right now?
I think startups are a very good, stepping stone for the youngsters uh, to start their career in this field, because nowadays startups are, only the functions or the companies who are generally putting more efforts to make this particular industry grow.
Right.
And in a startup, you tend to learn a lot because you get that exposure, you get that freedom, and you get that accountability to work in all the fields. So that is one. And after working in the industry for around, my suggestion would be that every youngster should at least work for 3 to 5 years in the industry. After that, only he tend to know that what exact thing excites him, and he also, generates some sense of responsibility uh, to improve something. So I
Right.
think industry exposure is must before going to higher studies. And I think for youngsters, if generally specifically for the logistics and the supply chain field, I think they can start their career through the good startups.
True, true. Like that, because when whoever is working in India Logistic, they know that they are contributing something towards the nation, building nation, reducing the cost for logistics, and that's why we all are excited about, right? That's why we all are working very, very motivatedly with for this kind of cause, right? We are in logistic is no thankless job, right? We all know, right? We have to take calls at night. We are working from morning, right? And there's so many things happening. There's so many challenges, and we are getting frustrated, but still we are working and we are doing these things,
So
right?
that's why automation is must in this industry
Yeah.
to make this industry less miserable.
Right. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Right, and
Thank you so.
you guys are definitely doing a very fantastic job in this particular direction, and all the services provided by Traqo, I think, is in definitely in line with the focus areas of our country right now.
Thank you so much. So, all the viewers who are watching, this is not a paid promotions. Dheeraj sir saying all these things from his heart. we,
Thanks.
okay. It was great talking to you. So, thank you for mentioning very interesting points. And even I was not aware about lots of things, right? And thank you so much. Last thing I'll definitely like to know that what was your feeling when you see this kind of change happening in this logistic industry, right? Do you feel like this is what you wanted from very beginning, or this is something we are very, very far from the that level where you wanted to see this entire industry?
Yeah, I think it is very relaxing to see all these things happening around, and these are the exact things which is the need of the hour also. And in fact, we have been also benefited through a lot of services provided by these service providers, the technology solution providers. We have also implemented and we have also taken help through many of them, and they have exactly understood our problem, and they have provided us the solutions which were very easy to implement and in a very short span of time, and also the accuracy levels are very good. So I think we are I think India as a country whole, we are working in the right direction, and we have already understood the need of the hour, and accordingly we are acting, and it's very relaxing to see that.
Great, great. Thank you so much, Dheeraj sir, for joining, and it was great having like on this show. And we're looking forward to have you again very soon.
Thanks Pratik, thanks to your team. and I would definitely like to meet your team soon.
Yeah, definitely, sir. We are also looking forward to that.